Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another unboxing video. Recently, I unboxed this Van Halen vinyl box set of the first 6 albums. Now, many of you have been asking if I'm going to do volume 2, and I am. But this time I've chosen the CDs. So this little guy, looks after picking up the vinyl one, the CD box set for 1986 to 1996, all the Sammy Hagar albums all together in a box, plus a disc of Rarities as well. So before I give a review of the sound and the records themselves, CDs, let's have a look inside the box. So this is the Van Halen studio albums and Rarities box. So it's Van Halen 2. So I recently reviewed the first box on vinyl. For this one, I've got the CD box. So this is 5 LP replica on CD remastered from the original tapes by Bernie Grundman. 5150 U812 for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, Balance, and Studio Rarities. It's a slip case box, just like the vinyl, but obviously CD shaped. Now they have gone a little bit further. So there is another box, the first box, isn't there, which is a clamshell box. It's about 15-20 pounds, and they're just very simple CDs. There's no booklet or anything. This, which is a higher price point, is a bit different, and I'll show you why. They're better quality sleeves. They've got the spines on them, whereas the other box doesn't. And as it said on the front of the box, these are vinyl replicas. And so, yes, you will need a good pair of glasses, depending on if you're visually challenged. But they've basically replicated the exact packaging as was on the original vinyl albums. So this is obviously Warner's Rhino here. But the other thing that I want to point out is that the quality of the paper stock is exactly the same as would have been on the vinyl albums. So the next one would have been U812. And again, the lyric sheet, exactly for those of you who bought the original vinyl, or if you bought the vinyl set, is the same. And the next one in is for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Now this one, again, is exactly the same as if you bought the vinyl. So what I was about to say was actually the one after this, which is this one, which is Balance. Now this is different paper stock, the same as the original vinyl, those of you who bought it in 1995. So the attention to detail is that they could have easily just put the internal inner sleeves exactly the same and probably save themselves a bit of money, but they haven't done that. So they've actually been very faithful to the actual vinyl versions for the CD. And the last one, of course, which is a totally different thing made up just for this box for vinyl and CD, Studio Rarities, just has a plain inner sleeve with the tracks on the back. So on the back of the box, you've got all the albums and all the tracks, etc. And you've got 8 tracks that are seen as Studio Rarities from 1989 to 2004. So that is a quick look at the CD box set for the Van Halen Volume 2, 1986 to 1996 box set. So that's Van Halen Part 2, the studio albums and a Rarities album as well. So you've just seen inside the box. So for those of you who don't want to listen to my kind of personal summary of what I feel about these albums, you probably just want to know what's the sound like, what's the remastering like. It's been remastered from the original tapes by Bernie Grundman, and they sound great. Is it dramatic from the original albums? I only had the first album on vinyl, so I can't really comment on that. And this whole set is available on vinyl, but obviously for this I'm talking about the CD set in itself. It sounds better. All of the albums sound better than my original CDs. It's not dramatic. It's not like, oh my God, I can't believe it type of remastering. But to me, there's more depth, there's more kind of clarity, and it just feels more authentic for the Van Halen sound. Okay, so that's my overview. You've seen inside the box. You can see that I think that the the extra little bit of detail on the sleeves, the inner sleeves, the wording on the spine, and obviously the inner sleeves, the paper stock, etc., is great. It's more expensive, as I've already mentioned, than the first batch of albums in the CD box set, but that was a very cheap affair, clamshell, very thin sleeves, totally different. And of course, this comes with some rarities. And I'll touch on that first of all, I think, because again, for those of you who might not want to listen to me talking about my thoughts on the original albums. So the extra disc, of course, there was no extras from the Dave Lee Roth period, but there is from this. But even so, some of these extra tracks from this particular album, some of you are going to have before, especially if you bought the Best of Both Worlds, which was a compilation from 2004. So Learning to See, Up for Breakfast, and It's About Time were on that compilation. A Political Blues is from the CD A1812 from 1988. It's a Lowell George cover. There's also another track called Blunt Rhythm, is it? Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. That's from 1995, which is an outtake from Balance. Crossing Over, which is the B-side of Can't Stop Loving You, also from the Balance sessions. And then Humans Being, and also Respect the Wind are from the film Twister. Now, I just want to talk about those in particular, because Humans Being is a fantastic track. It's a great rock song. You can watch the video on YouTube. The band look fantastic. They look energized. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And it's a great song, and it's really great to have that in part of this package. But the song that I really want to, or music that I really want to draw your attention to, is Respect the Wind. This was pitched at the end of the film Twister, and I remember watching that film, great film, and as the music started and the guitar playing started, I kept thinking, this sounds like Eddie Van Halen, but I don't know what it is. But it sounds like Eddie Van Halen. And obviously when the credits came up, it was. And I just think it's a fantastic piece of music. And it kind of, to me, hinted at where Eddie Van Halen could take his guitar playing. It's one of the most emotive guitar solos I've ever heard. I just think, and because I'm a huge Van Halen fan, so this was hearing something that I just felt was beautiful, an absolutely beautiful piece of music. So for me personally, this box set, having that track, on this disc, made it for me absolutely worthwhile. Seriously, that one track, an instrumental, and I just imagine if Eddie Van Halen was still here and he made an album of instrumental songs, that would be on there. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic. So, the albums themselves. So let's go back to 1986, shall we, for 5150. We all remember that Diamond Dave, the best front man and the best entertainer in the world of rock and roll, was probably Dave Lee Roth. He loved being on that stage, didn't he? Still does. And so the fact that, obviously you could tell in 1984, Eddie Van Halen wanted to take the band in a different direction. And of course, all the writing was basically Eddie, up to this point. And so the band loses Diamond Dave, and they've got to replace him with someone. I remember hearing the news and thinking, who could it possibly be? And someone from the States who I had as a pen pal got in touch with me and said, it's going to be Sammy Hagar. I'm a massive Sammy Hagar fan, right back to the first Montrose album in 73. Followed his career throughout. Saw him on tour every time he came to the UK. So to me, it was a great choice. I just thought, I won't be able to see Sammy Hagar on his own. He plays guitar. What's going to happen? I mean, of course, we got Diamond Dave with Eat 'em and Smile and Steve Vai. So we had two bands we could go and watch. Two great bands. So I have no connection to those people that call it Van Hagar or say one lineup was better than the other. To me, it's Van Halen. That's the brand. And to me, this was a new start. What I will say is that it was a new start for the band, obviously. And obviously, Eddie Van Halen was learning to have a different writer, someone else that played guitar. And they used a totally different producer on this, Mick Jones from Foreigner. And I'm not quite sure what Mick Jones brought to the album as such, but he wasn't Ted Templeman. And Ted Templeman is someone else who, probably one of my favourite producers. He created the Montrose and Van Halen sound to me, and so he wasn't on this. So the sound hadn't quite got the same feel. But the songs, I mean, opening up with Good Enough, great opening song, and It Got Me, Why Can't This Be Love, one of the biggest hit singles they ever had. So the band were bigger than ever before. Whatever people think, and Get Up, Dreams, oh, what a song. Summer Nights, The Best of Both Worlds, Love Walks In, 5150 and Inside. Great album. I was so pleased I'd bought it. But it felt a bit mismatched in places. But I loved it. The next one in, which was 2 years later, was OU1812 from 1988. This one is my wife's favourite Van Halen album of all time. And I think it's because when we met, I played this over and over again, and then Sue fell in love with it, and then I think she just played it until she almost wore it out. And I thought it was a step up. Mine or Mine, When It's Love, the way Sammy Hagar starts on that. I think Eddie Van Halen's guitar playing was maturing. It was become more song orientated, and they were just dominating the charts. It was almost a feel that every time a Van Halen album came out, although they started way before this, you just were assured of a level of quality. It was like the Rolls Royce of rock, and you just knew it was going to be good. Feel So Good, Sucker in a Three-Piece. Hagar's voice this time, they'd kind of levelled off. He was part of the band. The songwriting was top notch. The production was great, and of course, Ted Templeman was back on this album, and I think that's something else at Don Landy as well. I think this is something else that took the sound quality of the album and the overall feel of it to another level. So I think to me this was a much better album. 1991 saw For Unlovable Carnal Knowledge was released. I bought this on CD. I never had this on vinyl. I like this even more. There was so much stuff on here. Pound Cake, Judgment Day, Spanked, Run Around, Pleasure Dome, In and Out, Man on a Mission, The Dream Is Over. There's so many good songs. And right now, it's more of a ballad, but I just thought, again, the piano playing, Eddie Van Halen was really pushing himself as a songwriter as well as a guitarist. Sammy Hagar was bringing so much stuff to the party as well. Great vocals, fantastic, top of the world. Absolutely brilliant album. Balance, at the time, I remember buying that in 1995, and I saw it was a step down. I thought it was a drop for the first time in my Van Halen journey in a way. But that has changed now. But I remember even today, the Seventh Seal with those Tibetan overtone vocals at the start is one of my favourite Van Halen songs. Can't Stop Loving You, Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do, Amsterdam, Big Fat Money, Doing Time, Aftershock, Strung Out, Not Enough, Take Me Back, and of course the classic Feeling. So how would I rank these albums now? Taking aside the disc with all the extra tracks on, because I don't think that would be fair to do that, would it? In fourth position would be 5150. In second position will be OU1812. In third position will be For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. And in first position would actually be Balance, the one that I thought was the weakest at the time. I think listening to these albums back to back in the order that they appeared made me appreciate the brilliance of this album. And instead of seeing it as a step down, I now look at it as a progression, as a step forwards, that the band were progressing and going into new territory. I love that with music. Anything that I like musicians to keep going forwards, not to just tread old ground. And I think that's what Eddie was doing, which is why I think on the bonus disc with Respect the Wind, I just wish he'd been around to explore that more. But Balance to me now is actually the one that after I played this box set, it was the album that I played again straight off. It really is. So that is the second box set of the Van Halen albums, the Sammy Hagar Years. It sounds fantastic. I think it's well worth it. Lots of people in the Now Spinning magazine Facebook group are way ahead of me and already got this. I might get the vinyl one, who knows? But there's so much else to spend my money on. But it's a great set, and it's a great set of albums. Thank you for watching. Remember to please subscribe to the YouTube channel if that's what you're watching this on. Check out the website at nowspinning.co.uk. Join the Facebook group where you can interact with lots of fanatical and passionate music fans and people that love buying CDs and vinyl records. Remember, music is the healer and the doctor. And please become a patron and subscribe and become a YouTube member and help me take Now Spinning magazine to yet another level of excellence, hopefully, with all your support. So take care, keep spinning those discs, and I shall see you very, very soon.